Bomb them to hell. How to stop war. Brandon Gentili here. A theme as old as time. You're going to want to listen to this one all the way through. War fixes the president's popularity, brings countries together, but the silent assassin is that it also robs people, citizens of its wealth, the thing that's never talked about. This is why presidents routinely take us to war, lie about war, because they want approval. They want unison, bring the people together. It is reported that the United States of America spent around $7 trillion fighting the war in Afghanistan and Iraq. Let me ask you how all the wars we fought with these generic goals have turned out. The war on drugs, the war on poverty, the war on terror, the war on women, the war on inflation. War costs money. I don't mean dollars. I mean actual time and energy. Remember, money, as we always talk about, is an economic container for your time and energy. That's all it is. War actually costs energy and time. If we had a gold standard or if we had a Bitcoin standard, it would mean you would actually have to spend time and energy acquiring that wealth. Printing dollars does not equate wealth. That is a lie. Dollars are debt. It's credit. That's not actual wealth. So just printing or typing digits into a system doesn't give you anything, doesn't mean anything. Your dollars being spent would actually mean something then if it was backed by something of real value, like Bitcoin or gold. But since the government can just type more digits into a computer and you go to work every day paying taxes on that debt and interest, that's the debt clock that spins up every day. They just take those, the Federal Reserve prints currency out of nowhere, out of a bank that has nothing in it, out of an account that has nothing in it, trades bonds, so the bonds go sit on the Federal Reserve's balance sheet. We then pay our taxes to the IRS, and the IRS pays off that bond interest to the central banks, meaning we work for the central banks. They get richer and richer, the owners of the central banks, and you ask who are those people? The Rothschilds, Bilderbergs, JP Morgan Chase, all have interest in these banks. We don't know exactly for sure. We know the origins of them, but over the years it's been very hard to tell who owns them actually, who actually has shares in the central banks. But it's the globalists, the unproductive class that has the wealth that is then paid to them. We all, or the entire world, is paying their debts to their governments, which then pays off the central banks. So we have to understand that hierarchy of who we're working for. We work for the central banks. We go to work every day and we work for central banks. The amount of tax you pay is the amount you work for the central bank. The globalists, the crazy people, the yahoos that you see on TV every day shilling war and saying we need to do this, we need to do that. That's who we work for. And until we understand that, things are going to, it's just band-aids on bullet holes. It just doesn't matter. All the fighting, left, right, red, blue, this and that, it doesn't matter. The daily, polling, what are the most important topics? That's just the Coliseum. That's just what they want you in, this little Coliseum, this little football field to beat each other up on, and then the government does this thing on behind the backs of all the people. Again, since we do that every day, we allow it to happen, we pay the taxes to them to fund all this, the government can go to war and drone strike as many cartoons as characters as it wants, whenever it wants. It doesn't even matter if they're American citizens or not. This has been done over and over. Why'd we go? There are many people to this day who cannot tell you why we went into either of those countries. I was a 13, 14-year-old kid. I was for going into those wars and thought about going into the military. It was obviously too young, but I thought about that. It was a sense of duty and honor and country. And I actually then played for my country. I played for the U.S. national hockey team and found my sense of honor and duty through that. And that was my calling, and to go do that, and a goal I had. And I was all for going back and retaliating and attacking the people and vengeance on the people that had attacked us. But who really attacked us, and why did they attack us? Did we ever get to the bottom of that? Do we even know why? These people were trained in Saudi Arabia. We had the petrodollar. We had deals to protect the Saudis. So how are they all trained there and from there natively? How is that all working? Again, why do we go? There are many people that could tell you zero reason as to why we went. They could not tell you why we were there for 20 years. They could not tell you where those shiny little things Saddam was supposed to have went. Full disclosure, again, I was one of those people who went along with that lie and believed that because it took us dang near a year, they actually had time to go move everything, which maybe it's true, maybe it's not. But at this point, I'm thinking it's not. It was just a lie to get us in there. Because why would we go in there in the first place? What did they have to do with it? What did that have to do with 9/11? Again, people have their theories about all this stuff, but at this point, 20 years later, hindsight 2020, at the time, you have emotion. When emotion goes up, intelligence goes down. And as a kid, as a 13, 14-year-old, during 9/11, seeing that happen, yeah, it was like, let's go. Let's get people back. Let's set the tone, which we'll get to here in a second. Again, I think we were all duped. All the presidents have done it. Many of them, many of them. This is not just one person who's done it and people and everyone else hasn't. And very few question what's going on, truly. I think there's only a few people that voted against the Iraq war, the invasion. I believe I had to look and see how many people actually voted against it. Almost everyone did, because again, it's a way to enrich themselves, enrich their buddies. Again, there's all kinds of insider trading stuff going on, reports going on from hundreds of Congress people right now, insider trading, depending on the committees they're in, whether it's energy, financial committees, and then front running these stocks and in these companies because they know what's coming. And yet no one asks what's going on. No one even, when we incentivize bad behavior, it just creates more of that bad behavior when we don't actually hold people accountable. And again, save the courageous human beings going into battle who have actually questioned things, or their loved ones who their lives are affected or destroyed. Those people, I've seen those people question things over the years. But again, here's the B-52 full arsenal, which will be replaced by ASIC miners mining Bitcoin someday. I guarantee it. This will happen. And it's ironic right now that the Ethereum merge is going on, proof of stake, and the World Economic Forum and governments all around the world trying to shill proof of stake. Biggest joke of all time, because that's just the system we have now. It's a captured system, and they want to keep their system intact. Well, good luck, because Bitcoin is the apex predator in the weeds coming for all of you. And it's going to happen. War is hell. Answer it quietly to yourself. If we knew who funded or planned or coordinated the attack, why wouldn't we just go in and level everything in a week? Who was responsible? Where were they hiding? We know where everyone's on Earth. We know where everyone is. They track all of us all the time. We know where everyone is. Are you kidding me? The people that were responsible for, or they were harboring those people, just go in, level everything. That's war. War is hell. Why don't we just come in and bring the wrath of God down on them? You turn the whole place into ash, and guess what? Everyone the world over sees, wow, I better not ever mess with those people again. Ever again. Done. Game over. No mental health issues. No friendly losses. No friendly fire. No money spent impoverishing your nation. The military-industrial complex isn't enriched and running the world. No veterans. And again, the revolving door. Again, we went through before and talked about the three in the last couple articles and blogs or last couple of weeks. The last three Secretary of Defenses we've had have a combined net worth of almost $20 million. Just a revolving door between Raytheon and the current ones on the board of Raytheon. They all sit on boards of military weapon producing companies and making planes. There's a little conflict of interest much. So they all had a net worth of $5 million or more, the last three Secretary of Defenses. Two from the Republican side, one from the Democratic side. It just goes to show you who's running the world, what's going on. And as Charlie Munger says, show me the incentive and I'll show you the outcome. A little bit of conflict of interest. I'll let you decide though. Again, no money spent impoverishing your nation. The military-industrial complex isn't enriched and running the world. No veterans committing suicide by dozens each day. No families destroyed and ripped apart. And here's Dwight Eisenhower in his farewell address to the nation. Again, we talked about this the other day as well. We must guard against the military-industrial complex. Again, we didn't heed his warning. We didn't heed George Washington's farewell address warning of the two-party system, because one gets co-opted and the other one, really quickly follows suit. And that's what we have now. What we chose instead. Instead, we chose to fight a mirage. We picked an arbitrary needle out of a haystack as our excuse to go to war. The war on terror. Speaking of it, didn't we get rid of that terrorist 10 years ago? Over 10 years ago? So it really was about that. Then why are we there? Why are we still there for 10 more years? Sounds a little bit like climate change in the ESG narrative. An arbitrary war with no outcome or no clear goals established. Vague computer models, vague goals. When you're a company, you have to have clear goals and accountability and outcomes. You have to know what you're going after. Otherwise, it's just, can you imagine going into the ocean with an ocean liner, or going up in the air with a 747 and typing nothing into the computer, nothing into the controls, nothing into the autopilot? It's like, you know what, I was going to go fly. I hope I get to my destination. Well, that's what government does. That's what the United Nations does. That's what the World Economic Forum does. That's what the governments do. It's so they can then just obscure what's going on and then steal everyone's wealth and steal everyone's freedoms. That's how fear. The world's ending. Terrorists going to happen. This and this and this and this, and just fear, and it lets them take all the power because people just say, okay, I don't know what's going on, so just here, have my money. I'll pay my taxes. I'll get pat down by this TSA. I'll do all these things, and hopefully you figure it out. I guess. Insanity. But by golly, again, give us all your freedoms and your wealth and trust us to do what needs to be done. That's what the government says. That's what these huge alphabet soup of agencies around the world say. Gooberment can't even figure out, which you might call government from now on, can't even figure out how to run a healthcare website or the VA healthcare system, among many other things. But we surely will be able to, but they surely be able to tackle the world's largest problems. Classic Gooberment right here. Obama, I learned this past week, so I had to share this. Obama spent $840 million on a website. The Obamacare website cost $840 million. I've spent, I'm no expert in digital marketing. We had a digital marketing company at one point. We built many websites. We were talking $1,000, $5,000, $10,000, maybe. Just depends on how crazy you want to get. Maybe 50,000, we'll say, even 100,000. I've heard some people just $100,000 building out these massive, insane websites. $840 million. Where did that money go? Interesting. How come no one's asking these questions? And this is just one example of thousands. That bill, Nancy Pelosi, Obamacare, we can read it when we pass it. You're the representative. You're the one supposed to be doing this. I mean, this is absolute clown world we are living in. War is simple. Maximum extreme violence for the shortest acceptable time, inflicting the most amount of pain. Talk to any special operator on Earth, and they'll tell you that very thing. You want to never be in a situation of fighting, or a real fight, or a bar fight, or a war. But if you absolutely have to, you make it short and violent. Send a message to the world that you are never to be messed with. Peace through strength. The Bitcoin war plan. Bitcoin, ironically, only gives you a short window to do this exact thing. If you do go to war, you better damn well make sure it's worth it, or else there's nowhere to hide. And now you bankrupted yourself. Bitcoin, therefore, is an incentive to never even go to war, since energy is digital and resources are used all over the world to protect the network instead of fighting over them and going to war. That's generally what war is about, resources. That's why you're in Iraq, Afghanistan, Desert Storm, all these things going on in Vietnam. And if you are attacking in Ukraine now, if you're attacking somebody because of retaliation, you better make sure the world gets the message. Why war happens. The currency printer is the only thing that allows politicians to send our men and women overseas. It allows the ability to hide payoffs, launder money, and send your children to kill other children. The currency printer allows governments to go in and fight wars with woke policies like don't shoot until you're shot at in Vietnam. The currency printer allows the government to steal all the people's wealth and funnel it to places to win favor of the people and gather votes, ironically, and change polling. It's almost never for a truly admirable reason. When's the last time we had a valid reason for war and went in to do an actual job? I can't remember a time other than maybe the Civil War, the Revolutionary War. If you had sound money backing that, if you had a Bitcoin standard, you could only go to war when it makes absolute sense and you have general agreement internally inside of your country, your region, or your government. No more bloodshed and lost wealth. This is coming. The world will be here in the coming decades. However, it will. That's why we talk about getting prepared all the time. It will get wild in between then. And there's going to be a lot of governments and people coming after your freedoms, your wealth, your families, etc. And this is not to scare anyone. This is just to say this is what's going to happen. How are we going to prepare for that? Getting independent, getting resilient. It will happen. Bitcoin is the life raft and the perfectly hard money to track and expose bad actors and incentivize diplomacy instead of death and depletion. Stay strong. If you like this video, please share it. Please let us know what we can do better. If you like it, like and subscribe and share, like I said. And if you don't, please dislike. Please let us know, comment what you think we could do a better job of, what we could dive into more, what topics like you'd like us to see go into more as well. So just thank you for your time and energy. It's the most important asset we have. And we look forward to seeing you on the next one. Go check out some of our last few videos about inflation and deflation, some other ones about stopping war, and some of my success principles and how we've been multiplying our wealth in this chaotic time and how we're getting independent and resilient. Getting our energy right, our food, our water, our wealth out of the system and making sure that we are resilient as possible. Who knows what's going to happen? I might not make it through. Who knows who's going to make it through? I want to try to be giving myself the best chance, my family the best chance to be there when the smoke clears at the end of the day, trying to do everything we can to do that and build community. That's the number one thing as well. Building community, like-minded people here listening to this. We can build community and thrive in the coming chaos and when the smoke does clear. Appreciate you so much. We'll see you on the next one.